listeners, you're listening to 18 Minutes with Satyal and Silwal. I am Satyal.
And I'm Silwal, and we are a weekly podcast from the Himalayas.
When it's a Tuesday and it's 7:30, you know it's time for perspectives, conversations, and stories.
We're on our 24th episode, and before I begin this episode, Satyal, what's the similarity between our podcast and Hindi serials?
Nobody listens to it or watches it.
No, they don't know when to stop. Usually, English serials and soaps, they have their season ends.
They end on the 24th
episodes. Yeah, somewhere around that.
We're not stopping, man. We're not stopping.
Oops.
That's how it is. But we're not stopping, and one of the reasons we're not stopping is because we've had 350 subscribers, man.
350 subscribers, and we have something special for you.
Yeah, wait, but before we jump into that, and I don't know what you have for the guests. I have nothing. How many of those are your illegal accounts?
2. one is mine, and one might be.
So we're like 354. So I guess we're 350, right? So that's great. And you said we had something for our guests.
Yeah. There sare Maya.
That's all?
Lots of love, because we are poor people.
True.
We have nothing to give to you, but we can obviously feature our exclusive guests once a week. Last week we talked about this guy.
Prince.
I want to name him because
all the way from Germany.
All the way
but
from
today
Germany.
we have a listener, a subscriber who is from Nepal.
Yeah, from Nepal, and it's very difficult to pronounce her name. So let her introduce herself.
Hello, my name is Fatstarya. Hello, my name is Fatstarya.
Hi, Pradisha.
Hello, my name is Ashish Wa.
I am Saurabh. Pradisha, we love you a lot. Thanks for listening to us.
Yeah, and we're doing
start.
this because you're one of the most interactive person in this podcast who's probably commented on 90% of our videos.
Yeah, and
we just wanted to share some love with you.
Yeah,
and
we love you. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
So that
not
was
that we don't love other listeners. We
if you want to be featured, write to us. You need to comment. Yeah,
except
that's
for that one person who wrote bad shit about us. You're not welcome.
You did not like me. Okay, so coming to the serious episode, serious issue of the podcast, because we're not stopping at 24.
Yeah.
What do we have for today?
Well, we wanted to do a year in review, right?
Yeah.
But I had this better idea, the year has not ended. So let's do a mid-season review or a mid-year review of the things that have happened, from January to September, and things that you might have planned, or there are so many resolutions that you make, right? I have so many resolutions that I still have some resolutions from 2011 that I still haven't done. That's normal.
That speaks a lot about what resolutions are, I guess.
Yes. But just looking at the year back, because a lot of times we talk about introspection and looking at ourselves, and one episode that we did with Samash and Pujadi, they've all talked about talking to yourself and looking back and knowing yourself. So we just wanted to look back on our lives, just see how the year has gone for us, where we might have done better, where we have achieved something, and where can we go from here.
Yeah, definitely. And you listeners, you can listen to our conversation and have a conversation inside your own head as to you can resonate with the questions we'll be asking each other. And
don't talk out loud. People might think you're mad, so just put it inside your head. Unless you're inside your room. So
all right, so you ready for it, bro? Are you scared?
I was born ready.
You were born ready. Okay, the first question I want to ask you is, if I remember correctly, in one of the episodes you said you never failed.
I've never failed.
You've never failed.
that was probably a joke. I have failed a lot.
Because I want to hear that from you. So, when was the one time this year you failed?
This time
and what did that do to you?
This time I failed to make decisions on time.
Okay, can you elaborate on that?
One of the most important decisions that I didn't, not an important decision, but it was more on having fun and all. I graduated, right? I gave my board exams on January. By March I was graduating, and before we had our proper graduation, we had this India trip, and I was so willing to go there and have fun with my classmates, because that was one of the last times that we'd be together.
Yeah.
But indecisions, there were things going at home, there were things going at potential work, and there was Satyal as well, right?
Yeah, blame me now.
There were so many things, and the indecisions that I didn't take on time led me to not being on that trip and enjoying with my friends. That is one thing, because right now I'll tell you, people who are graduating this year or people who have already graduated, once you graduate, you hardly get time for your friends. I have not met my friends in some time, and that's one thing that I say I failed in, because I've not been available to them after that.
The only way to keep a hold of your friends is to do a podcast with them, which forces them to come meet you every week.
Well, they might start hating you if you constantly put pressure on them to listen to you. So,
okay, so that was one time you failed.
Yeah, that was not a failure, but that was me failing to make decisions on time. If I had just made the right decision, right, I could have managed everything. I could have managed my time properly. I could have managed everything. Looking back, yeah, probably I could have done what at that moment I didn't see, how I could manage myself. So, yeah. So technically, I didn't fail.
There we
decision. I'm not a lawyer, but my father is a judge, so I know some law stuff. Anyway, Satya, what about you? I don't want to talk about your failure, because you fail a lot.
Yeah, I do fail a lot. I mean, I'm sorry.
18 minutes is not enough. Okay, one thing that you feel very proud of, apart from the podcast itself, one thing you're very proud of 2016 that has happened so far.
I'd say my work at King's College, very fulfilling. The mentorship that we've been doing, the feedback has been really amazing. And before that, I was doing some other things, and I was not really happy with the things that I was doing. I thought I could do a lot better. I could do things that I could really feel like was my calling, and I took a leap of faith.
Yeah.
And it turned out to be one of the best decisions. So that is one work that I'm really proud of, and I'm glad that I started it.
People who pay him at King's College, if you're listening, raise his salary up right now. He's...
Yeah, I gotta treat my friend. Please do that. Okay, another question.
Yeah.
One striking perspective you've known about yourself, because we talk a lot about knowing ourselves.
It's a difficult one, because everything is very personal. I think one perspective that I found out, and especially it is through Facebook that I've been finding this every day on, you have memories to share. I look at my posts that were 2008-9, and I look at myself yelling at
people.
Not at people, but metaphorically yelling at on walls, speaking my mind out, and then that just made me think about how I am right now. These days I don't post as much, just the podcast, just some good pictures, edited pictures, right? But there were times when I used to share so many things, and it was not just I was sharing those words or those sentences out for myself, but it was specifically targeted towards someone or something or some event, and I wanted to garner that interest from others. And slowly I've realized that maybe the whole notion of sharing on social media, that has made me think a lot. Why should I post things? What's I'm about to post something, and then say, why should I post this anyways? Let's just post a cat picture, or let's just post something that's funnier, or sometimes controversial, yes, but I just look at myself and be like, there's no point in sharing anything. The loved ones that I know, I'm always with them. So that is one thing that I've learned about myself, to really question who am I sharing things with, because many a times when I share things, or when someone shares some posts on Facebook, this happens to a lot of people, right? You look at posts and you're like, this is obviously directed at someone else. Yeah. I've stopped doing that, and that I hope that answers your questions in some ways.
So you're posting stupid things.
More stupid things.
Back or 2 years back, but now you're filtering out all your content.
Yeah.
I think that's a sign of maturing up.
Yeah.
And that's great.
Yeah, probably maturing up, or probably realizing I should not be posting too many stupid things.
Okay. Good on you.
So, what about you? What is one perspective that you've known about yourself?
Well, I've realized that I love spending time with myself.
You can take that any way you want it.
I wouldn't have done a lot of that previously, but...
Done? Okay.
Kids are listening, man. Don't do that. That would be one. Books. Read a lot of books this year.
Okay.
A year back, or probably 1.5 years back, if you told me that I'd be reading a lot of books, I'd probably be laughing at you because that was not something. I would say that is not my thing. This year, there's been a lot of books, good books. So yeah.
Okay, let me follow up on that question. You said you were not into books.
Yeah.
I know you're not that much into movies. Because we've tried to get you to watching movies.
Yeah, you guys have given up.
This does not work against Satyal. If you want to take Satyal out on a date, a movie date is probably not the one that you want.
Yeah, home dates. Take it any way you want it.
Shut up. No, what I want to ask you is, how would you, learn, or where would you get that? Because learning, reading from books, even movies, you gain some perspectives. You're learning something. Where would that come from if it wasn't for books or movies a few years back? Or how would you grow yourself?
I would say YouTube. YouTube was still there. So a lot of my learning has come from YouTube. Whatever interests me. Right now, I'm a lot into mindfulness and spirituality. So I do Shamash. I'm reading his book right now. So a lot of his YouTube videos as well. Mindfulness Berlin and all those videos. I do that. So YouTube is one aspect. And randomly having conversations with people, just trying a conversation, saying, "What do you think about this?" So that is one avenue for me to learn.
Okay.
About.
But more often, today this is about books and YouTube videos.
Yeah,
Right.
Basically YouTube, I'd say.
So we've talked a bit about our past year. Rate your year out of 10.
Out of 10.
Yeah, out of 10. 10 being the best, 1 being the worst. Where do you rate your year so far?
I'd go with a 9, man. I'd go with a 9. It's been fairly good. Whatever I've done. There have been a lot of limitations, a lot of things that could have gone better. But instead of dwelling on things that could have been different or better, I choose to focus on what I have and make the most out of it. You could look at the podcast and say, "Oh well, you don't have 10,000 subscribers." So you could say, "Hey, at least 350 people turn up every week, and that's good enough."
Technically 200 people.
Don't take that away from me, please. How about you? How would you rate your year?
10 out of 10? Why give that one away?
Okay. I have a reason for that, but I'll let you finish first.
No, because looking at you can look at a movie and then rate it if it was good or not, right? Because you don't know how the movie or your life is going to be 3 months in time. Movies, you watch it for 1.5 hours, you know the ups and downs that the character goes, and you can rate the movie based on so many things. For me, the ups and downs are what makes everything so worthwhile.
Definitely.
From graduating to going to Sikkim with my parents, to being the valedictorian speaker, and then
awesome.
starting the podcast. Because congratulations on you being one a year back as well. So.
Yeah, and you followed up, and so that's how Satyal and Silwal roll.
Yeah, Satya comes before Silwal somehow.
That's not what I meant.
So starting a podcast, doing smart class, our video being posted on Naya Pusta.
That was fantastic.
Smart class. So there were some negative sides as well. You stop talking to people. Some people fall out of your life. Some people fall into your lives, and more often than not, the people who fall into your lives makes your year even more better, because there's something new every time. So I would not give it a 9. I would give it a 10.
Fantastic. I'll take that.
And there's so many things, there's so many things that has happened. If you really look at your life over the past year, my mom had an operation, and my best friend, you're not the one. He left for Germany. One of my closest friends, Raunak, he's also an ardent listener of ours. So he's in Korea right now. We're classmates, and people are going away, but there's still some connection left.
Still there inside your heart.
So why would you give that -1 for
I'd say 9 because we still have 3 months left.
Yeah.
And there's so much to do.
Okay.
And so much to be experienced and all those things. So I'm just keeping room for something, just so that I don't settle.
Okay.
And I just keep striving to get better. That is the only reason. I love your answer as well.
Yes. So what's next for you?
I was about to ask you.
Yeah, I am mindful of you. So what's next for you over the next 3 months? By the end of the year.
By the end of the year, I would definitely want to have a new experience under my belt. I don't know what it's
plan a
be.
surprise birthday for Silwal.
Yeah, that can happen. Well, it's almost be a year since we last went trekking. So
probably.
Yeah, we should go for another trek then. I don't know. But yeah, experience something new. I don't know what it's going to be,
Yeah.
but I'm not ruling anything out.
There was this one thing that I saw in probably it was a quote or someone has said this. When was the last time you did something new for the first time? That's something that I question myself time and again, and maybe it's time to question yourself and start doing that one thing that you've never done. And
yeah, that's a good
so
idea.
yeah, suddenly everything got serious. Anyways,
For our listeners who might be looking forward to those remaining 3 months, because a lot of them might be thinking, oh, these guys have done so much, we've not done so much.
No, man.
There's a lot of comparisons that happen. Don't feel that way. But if you were to give them some pointers as to you could do these things, what would a few things be?
The thing that you said a little while ago, not settling. Don't take everything at face value. If there's a good thing, enjoy it, revel it, learn from it. If there's a bad thing that has happened to you, take some time for yourself and rebuild yourself. And as we always say, it's never too late to start. It's September and maybe you had a resolution that you wanted to start a few months ago. It's never too late to start, literally. So that's my only pointer that I can tell people. Bipana, who wrote to us a few days ago, she talked about how it's never too late to start was something really that changed,
inspired her
to start working on
things,
something, and she was doing this workshop, and that's really nice to see. So anyone who thinks that they're stopping themselves, stop finding excuses. Just find a reason. You don't need 100 reasons not to do it. You just need one reason to do it, and that's the most motivational I can be. Damn.
Let's see if that works. I just wanted to share this.
Yeah.
One thing that I started the year with was I said I would disconnect at 9. I would turn my Wi-Fi off. I could not do that for more than 2 weeks. It was so hard.
Well, I said I would write more, and I have one blog post.
Yeah, I opened your blog and I was like, shit, I need to get this guy to write a lot more.
That was 2-3 months ago. And
you need to feel sad, man.
Yeah.
That's how you write.
Well,
you'll probably feel sad after looking at the views count of this podcast.
Because usually what I tell Satyal, that's my excuse. I have 100 excuses. I have to be inherently sad to write something up. I don't know how much of it really works, or it's just me procrastinating. But yeah, I hope so. I'll start writing more.
So yeah, listeners, so that was us just reviewing the year. We just wanted to look back and tell you that there's just more than 3 months left, and you can do a lot more and do the things that you think you're not doing just to make your year fantastic.
Yeah.
So we'll be back again next Tuesday at 7:30 p.m.
Until then, before I finish, thanks to Animax Rester for all his hard work and everything that he's put into it. Satyal is coughing right now because he's sick. So we'll see you back again next Tuesday. Until then, it's never too late to start.